I read The Chase, which is the first book in the Brayu series. The Brayu series being the spin-off of the off-campus series. Now, I'm going to admit this, I'm not going to lie, I've had a not so pleasant experience with spin-off series. I always think that they're not as good as the OG series. Case in point, the All Saints High series, which was the spin-off series of the OG Sinners of Saint series. Now, Sinners of Saint series, I loved. The All Saints High series, I have not loved so far. So, yeah. So, like I said, I don't have the best of experiences with them. But The Chase was a very solid, fairly decent start to the Brayu series. I gave it a 3 stars. In The Chase, we follow Summer Award De Laurentiis, yes, Dean's baby sister. We follow her story with Fitzgerald. That's Fitzy. That's the only nerd on the Oki team. He's very introverted, very into himself, and he clearly does not want to feel any attraction for Summer. But Summer is Summer. She's fucking awesome, fucking brilliant, so funny, so talented, so smart, so nice, so sweet, with such a big heart, and also is not afraid to speak her own mind. And I just love her. I love her to pieces. And Fitz cannot help but notice her, but he's someone that is driven. He's someone that is so driven and wants to stay away from, being in the spotlight. And with Summer, he's always going to be in the spotlight, and he hates and he resents that. And so he constantly has this whole push and pull thing where he wants her, but he doesn't want to want her, and as such, he's always putting his foot in his mouth and always speaking out of his ass. And Summer is always just suffering because of that. Like, I kid you not, this entire book, I was like, life would have been so much better if this series was not so fucking straight, and if only Elle Kennedy had just let Summer end together with Brenna, because Summer and Brenna were giving me Blair and Sarina vibes, and like, see, without the toxicity that was that relationship, like, even though I do love Gossip Girl, but I'm not gonna lie, like, we're not talking about Blair and Sarina, we're talking about Summer and Brenna, and I love their relationship. I love how well they paired up. I love how good they were for each other, and like, that's just it. Summer is a great friend. Summer is an amazing person. Summer deserved better than Fitzgerald, who was just yo-yoing all over the place with her emotions. But I understood where it was coming from, but at the same time, she deserved better. Like, it was just treating her like garbage. And then there was Hunter, who liked Summer, who legitimately went to go and meet his friend. I was like, do you like this girl? And when his friend was like, no, he was like, okay, fine, so he can ask her out, and he does. And the heartbreak that follows, because you legitimately cannot ask out somebody who likes somebody else, and like, it was just slightly messy, and I felt so sorry for Hunter up to the point when it was being a total jackass to Summer, in which case I was like, boy, bye. But anyway, as I was saying, I love this book. I thought it was funny. I thought it was cute. I love how Elle Kennedy gave us a glimpse into Summer's ADHD and her learning disability, and into her mind, and into this amazing girl who outwardly seems to have it all, but inwardly is dealing with so much more. And I love the fact that this book technically just kind of like is calling us to look beyond the surface, to what is buried beneath it. I love the fact that, as with all the other books in Elle Kennedy's off-campus Brayu series, we look at further discussion, we look at deeper topics, we look at predators within the university community, the need for women to stand up for other women, rape culture, and exactly how it does like boost up / protect the predators within the university community, and the importance of, 1, trusting and listening to your gut, and 2, also listening to students who come to you when they believe that there's a predator within the university. I love all that layers. I love every single thing that comes with that. It was very enlightening, very well done. I appreciated that a lot. I also love the fact that this book was obviously, you could see that Elle Kennedy did a research into gaming, and like, I love books that are well researched, and you can see the influence of gaming culture, and you can see that this writer legitimately did do their research in trying to get it right. I really appreciated that. Like I said, I gave it a 3 stars, and I think it's a solid start to the Brayu series. And after that, I read the second book in the Brayu series, which is The Risk, and that is the story of Brenna and Jake. And I loved it because I love Brenna. Now, I'm going to admit, from the very first start, when she showed up and she had a relationship with Summer, I was just like, if only Elle Kennedy was not obsessed with having a very straight and a very white series, she could have legitimately given me these 2 girls together, but we did not get that. Nope. But then we met Jake, and I'm like, I'm actually pretty okay with that. Jake is the captain of the hockey team for Harvard. Yes, you heard that right. Brenna fell in love with the enemy. She fell for the captain of the other team. And I love the witty banter. I love the back and forth with their relationship. They are both very smart, incredibly talented, very good at what they do, and also really in love with hockey. And I think they work well for each other. They balance each other out so fucking well. I also appreciate the fact that this book also delves into sexism within the sports industry, and trust me, there do exist people within sports who like legitimately think that women's interest in sports is cute and we are just a pretty face. And I appreciated that, even though I was gritting my teeth so hard because there were so many things that so many assholes said in this book that pissed me the fuck off. Like, I was so angry, but once again, like I said, I did appreciate the story. I did enjoy it. I would state though that the synopsis for this book was false advertising. I thought I was going to be getting a fake relationship because, see, Brenna wants a job with a news station, right? And so she comes to come and meet Jake. At least that's what we get in the story. She comes to meet Jake to pretend to be her boyfriend so that she could get the job. And Jake in turn says, sure, no problem. I would be your fake boyfriend if for every fake date we go on, you give me a real date. Because you see, Jake actually really does like Brenna and he wants to date her. And I was thinking we're going to get like this fake relationship type romance, but we didn't, because they only went on one fake date and then they went on one real date and then a second real date, and their relationship kind of developed from that. And it was just so I was so fucking pissed because I was like, you know how much I love the fake dating trope, and I thought that was what I was going to get, but it was just false advertising. So if you were reading the synopsis and you thought that you were going to get that plot, that's not really what you get. But the story in itself, really solid. I also love the fact that Elle Kennedy examined addiction and the toll it takes, even on those that used to have a relationship with addicts, how it is that you cannot really let go, and how it is that at what point do you realize that your care is becoming you enabling said behavior. I really did appreciate that. The only problem I had with this book, the reason why this book is not a 5 stars, because I loved practically every moment of it, was the fact that why is it that when we finally do get representation, and by representation I mean the very first woman of color in this entire series is Rupi, and Elle's characterization of her was technically just stalkerish. Like, I know there are lots of stalkers, like tad stalker, little stalkers in the entire series, from off campus to Briar U. I understand that, but still, it was so fucking annoying because we finally get rep, and it's Rupi, and Rupi who stalks Olis and basically badgers him into a relationship. And the fact that, like, even the way in which it all built, I appreciate Rupi's tenacity. I think that there's a way in which Elle Kennedy could have written her and softened her out, but I didn't like it. It was stalkerish. All I was just thinking was that if this was a man and if Olis was a girl, people would have a big problem with how that relationship played out. And also, I did not appreciate the fact that Brenna and Summer just gave away Olis' number to this complete stranger because they felt it was going to be funny. This person that clearly is obsessed and clearly does look like she does have stalkerish tendencies. And then everybody kept laughing. Everybody kept finding this whole thing, basically Olis being blackmailed and prodded and pushed into a relationship with Rupi. They all found it very funny, and I was just like, it was just wrong on so many levels. Please, it is in no way okay for you to give your friend's number to a complete stranger because you think it's going to be entertaining. Like, let's stop that shit. Let's cut it out. It is not funny. It is in no way entertaining. So yes, those were some of the things that just totally pulled me off and away from the story, but I did enjoy the rest of the book. I gave it 4 stars. And then I read the 3rd book in the series, which is The Play, and The Play is Hunter's story. Yes, Hunter. And I'll admit it, I knew I liked Hunter from the very first time we saw him in the score, because, you know, Dean took him under his arm and it became sort of like a mentor figure, you know, towards Hunter. So I knew I liked him in the score, and I was already like really liking him in the chase until that last part of it where he was being a complete and total asshole towards Summer. At that point in time, I was like, fuck this boy does not deserve Summer. I don't like him anymore. And then the play happened and I went back to liking him. So yeah, basically what Hunter did was that he took me on a yo-yo. Like, I hated him, I liked him, I hated him, I went back to liking him. I went through the entire gamut of emotions. But even with that, Hunter is still not my favorite character in this book. No, that would be Pablo Escobar. Yes, I have a thing for the egg that can swim, that has the ability to cock block and wears the best fashion in town. And if that makes zero sense, you need to read the book to appreciate the brilliance that is Pablo Escobar. Yes, it's an egg, but he is very special, very, very special. But yeah, I actually did enjoy it. I love the fact that this book was started primarily as a, I wouldn't say a friendship romance, because the romance didn't start until like almost halfway into the book. But I really did appreciate it and I enjoyed it. It works way better than Summer and Fitzgerald's romance did, and that is probably because of the fact that, see, in this book, like I said, we meet Hunter. Hunter is dealing with the repercussions of his broken arm that basically cost his team a win from the last book, that is The Risk. And as such, he decides that he's going to take a vow of celibacy because he believes that it's just because of the fact that he's been having sex. That's why he failed his team. And it has been a study in patience, but he's been pulling it off. And then we also meet Demi, who is our heroine in the story. And at the start of the story, she's in a relationship. She's in a happy, loving relationship, or so she thinks. When she finds out that her boyfriend is a cheater asshole, she breaks up with him. And like, God, that whole scene of her breakup, that was when I knew I was in love with Demi. There is nothing I appreciate more than a woman who knows how to hit where it hurts the most. And that period when she picks up his PlayStation and it goes flat on the floor, I felt the double pain. Like, I felt the pain of our ex-boyfriend, because goddamn, PS4s are expensive. And at the same time, I felt ugly because I felt a vindication, because he deserved it. He deserved to feel pain. But anyway, Demi and Hunter have been classmates and then slowly worked up their way to a friendship, and I love how close their bond were. And by the time she finds out that her boyfriend is being a cheater, and of course, as always, that does it does give a big blow to her ego, and she decides that she wants a rebound person. And who does she choose for a rebound? Hunter Davenport, who is like trying his damnedest, to be celibate. Is it celibate? No, it's not celibate for long, but like I said, I love the way in which their relationship developed from friendship into them being in a relationship. It was really done really well and really sweet. The only problem I had with this book was that one, goddamn. See, I do think that in 2019, authors should know to hire multiple sensitivity readers, because the minute it was that Demi's mother legitimately called her mommy, I had to like jerk back, because I'm like, I'm not Latina, but I know that mothers don't call their daughters mommy. Like, see, if it was Yoruba, if it was like Yoruba, I would understand, but I won't understand if it was, because sometimes Yoruba culture does believe that certain children are the embodiment of like their past ancestors who come back in the form of that child, who are reborn in the form of that child. And so there are certain names that are given to them, that when you hear the name Babajide, for example, the father has returned, you know that, okay, this child was probably named after a great-grandfather that he looks, or a grandfather that he looks like. And it's easy for a Yoruba mother, for example, to be like, Iyami, Babami to their child, because I repeat, there's the okay, my father, my grandfather, my husband's father was reborn as my child. Yes, it's a thing. So if that was the case, I would have understood. But nah, I don't think that's the case with Demi's family. I really think our mother is calling her mom. And I'm like, a simple sensitivity reader will be able to spot that and be like, no, mothers don't address their daughters that way. But God, I'm like, I repeat, sensitivity readers. The other problem I had with it was the fact that there was this bit with, there was a suicide attempt. Yes, trigger warning for a suicide attempt in the book. And I hated the fact that this entire scenario was used to show the growth of the character, was used to show somebody else that, oh, Demi is a good person, Demi is a good therapist, rather than it being a conversation about mental health, about suicide ideation, about what would lead that character to attempt suicide. And I just felt like it was done at the end of the story. It was very rushed. It was not properly fleshed out. I think that entire scene was just, it did a big disservice. Like, if you're going to include someone attempting suicide in your book, then please make it a conversation. And I think it's sad, because all the other things that, had been brought up all throughout the entire series, like both off campus and the Briar series. Elle Kennedy has taken the time to turn that, to have a conversation about those issues. But when it came to the suicide attempt, she just dropped the ball, and it was very sad. But I did also like how she did delve into conversations about narcissism, about parents who are narcissists, and what that means for the children and all of that. I really did enjoy that. And finally, Rupi and Olis's relationship grew on me. I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm not gonna lie, the play went by fast. Like I binge read that book in like almost 4 hours. No, almost 4 hours. Like I read it overnight. I was just flipping the pages because it was so much fun to read. I did give it a 4 stars. And I cannot wait to see what other book, like the next book in the Briar series. And goddamn, oh yeah, something else. Just as with Rupi, that we finally do get queer representation in this, but I hated the fact that Pax, that's the queer rep we got in this book, was just once again feeding into so many stereotypes. I'm like, why, Elle Kennedy? Why can't you just... I appreciate the fact that she's putting in the effort. I just wish she had taken the time to, I don't know, like I said, get sensitivity readers, do some research, ask people their opinion, that is this bordering on stereotype territory, because someone could have probably told her that, yeah, your Pax just does like talk and sound and move and act like a walking stereotype, and it's just... I wanted it more fleshed out. Every other character, most of the other characters in this book got fleshed out except for Pax. So, yeah, that was sad. That was very sad. But like I said, I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Onta's story. It was good. It was fun. And I love the fact that, see, in the Risk, we didn't really get as much insight into the new Briar team, so I didn't really like them as much. In the Risk, I actually preferred the Harvard hockey team to the Briar hockey team, but then I recognized the fact that it was because when we're looking at the Harvard team, we're looking at them through the eyes of Jake, who was a member and a part of that team, so he was able to really show us all the inside jokes and the inside behaviors and shenanigans of his team. And when we got to Brenna's side, she does not really have as much of a glimpse into the team. She does not really understand that much of the team dynamics. So from our own perspective, she was doing so many things, and there was no focus on the Briar guys. But with Onta's story, we are able to finally get a proper glimpse into those boys, and yeah, I'm liking them. I still think though that I prefer the Harvard hockey team to the Briar team. Not sorry. And then I read Imperfect Match by Corinne Michaels and Melanie, Harlow, in which case we follow the two best friends, Reed and Willow. They've been best friends since like forever, and they are always up in each other's business. They know each other as well as they know themselves, and they're pretty feeling damn proud of themselves that there's no relationship, there's no romantic feelings getting in the way, because they are just platonic friends, and they've been platonic friends for like forever. But when it is that Willow's mother gives her an ultimatum for her to find the perfect match for Reed, to confirm that she is talented enough to take over mother's matchmaking business, and Reed in turn agrees, but gives his own term in that, because see, as at the start of this book, Willow is planning on going to get artificially inseminated, because she does want a child. She doesn't want a boyfriend or a husband or a partner or anything. And he says that okay, she should wait, give it some time, find someone that she actually likes. He has a problem with that whole process, and she agrees to wait if he allows her to matchmake him with somebody else. And during this whole process, the two of them realize that they actually have feelings for each other very deep inside. I'm still waiting for the friends to lovers story, whereby nobody had any form of residual feelings, and like romantic attraction just hits them on the side of their head, and they're like, what the fuck? Hell no. Like, I don't want to know I used to look at you, I kind of looked at you last summer thing. No, I want it to be that at the start of a book, they are completely friends. There is absolutely nothing sexual or anything, and then boom, romance hits them on the side of the face. Why can't I get that? But anyway, yeah, so that is the entire premise of the story. I'm not gonna lie, I actually did not really like Reed. I thought that it was very annoying. I thought that it was very pool-headed. There's this whole point of their relationship, when their relationship does start and everything else, and he's already told Willow that it has no interest in being married and having kids because of his own family situation. But that's the thing, because by the time Willow does explain that she really still wants children, and all of things, this motherfucker loses his shit, and it's all like, oh, she's there, she wants to change him, he doesn't like that. Like, he was already upfront with her from the start, and I'm over here like, yeah, but she was also upfront with you from the start that she wants kids. Like, what kind of selfish asshole do you have to be all like, why is she wanting me to change when in turn you want her to change? And then the worst part about it is that he recognized the hypocrisy of his entire thought process and still was spewing bullshit. Like, at the end of it all, I was just like, Willow deserved better than this motherfucker Reed. She should just walk away. When she took him back, I was so pissed because he didn't even grovel. He just cooked. And I'm like, I don't even know if he cooked or he just ordered the food. And I'm like, seriously? This is the best you can do? Hard pass. Hard pass. Even when Willow was looking about the different people she could matchmake him with, she was listing all the perfect traits that this perfect girl, this embodiment of perfection had to have, and admitted all the flaws that Reed had. And I'm like, this guy has so many flaws. His audacity to be this flawed and want perfection was just so fucking annoying. I was just so fucking pissed. I'm like, why am I reading this book? Why did I give it 3 stars? I'm certain you're watching because you're like, obviously, no, I really hated this story. Yeah, I could not stand the story. It was just okay for me. But the reason why I actually gave it 3 stars was because of Reed's younger brother and Willow's younger sister. Those two made the story for me. They were just fantastic and amazing. And I sincerely hope that we get their story because I'm certain I would enjoy that more than I do this story. Imperfect Match was imperfect in so many ways and I'm so fucking pissed, but I did give it 3 stars. And then I started the True North series by Sarina Bowen. I kind of binged the entire series. I'm just that girl. I like to binge shit, obviously. And I started with the very first book in the series, that is Bittersweet by Sarina Bowen, in which case we follow Griff Shipley, who is managing his family's farm in Vermont and is the breadwinner. He's been the breadwinner ever since his father died suddenly of a heart attack, and he's basically taking the weight of that on those broad shoulders, because Grumpy Griff has some broad shoulders. Can you see how much I appreciate his broad shoulders? But yeah, and this story basically follows him and Audrey, who he basically had this fling with in college, but after college he had to take over from his father's farm. Audrey didn't even finish college. She failed out of one college, went to the second, and then decided to go into culinary school, where she found a calling and has been really kick-ass at it. But her new employers have sent her to Vermont in order to get organic farm produce at ridiculous, offensive prices, and she runs into Griff and sparks fly because they have chemistry, they have history, and at the same time Griff is like, your bosses are fucking assholes, but Audrey has a thing to prove and she wants to prove it and she needs Griff help. And from there, they develop the attraction is still there, it's still sizzling, and the sex is still fantastic for them both. And I love that. See, I would admit that in Bittersweet nothing really happens. Like, a lot of this book was just nothing really happened. Like, it was not angst filled, it was just easy and smooth and sweet, right? But see, the reason why I gave it 4 stars, and I did give it 4 stars, is because I have a weakness from farm stories. I blame it on the fact that when I was a kid, one of my first few indie blighting stories was the children of Willow, the children of Cherry Tree Farm and the children of Willow Farm. And see, because that entire series worked for me. I loved reading all about farm life. I legitimately wanted to grow up, like, I wanted to live in a farm, I wanted to own a farm. Those stories filled me with so much appreciation for what it takes, for the amount of effort and how fun it could be to work in a farm, but also how much work it is. So yes, I have a weakness for stories that deal with farm life, and of course I also appreciate city life stories, but I do appreciate farm life stories. And this entire series was built on a farm. I love seeing the farm through Griff's eyes. I love seeing the amount of work he put in there. I love every single moment. I like, oh god damn, it was so good, so good. And I also love the fact that with the farm life also comes a small community, and I loved the community. We meet in this small town, and I was just looking forward to meeting all the characters, and Sarina more than delivered, because the next book in the series is Steadfast, and in Steadfast we follow Jude's story. And even though I gave Bittersweet 4 stars and I admitted that nothing really happened, Steadfast was a 5-star read for me. This book broke me. I smiled, but I cried so fucking hard seeing the book through Jude's perspective, because see, Jude is a recovering addict, and even from the very start of the book, when we see how it is that he measures his days by the his level on the craving scale, and seeing a man trying to rebuild a life that went to shit because of his addiction was just so fucking heartbreaking and heart-wrenching. And I was just so So good. Jude is the very definition of the title of his book. He is steadfast. He's strong and calm, but also so honest about his struggles and what he's going through and being in his head. Like, I could appreciate the amount of work, the amount of research Sarina Bowen put into this book, because I legitimately felt everything. I felt so present in that moment, experiencing what Jude was going through, getting an inkling into what it means to battle addiction on a daily basis and just trying to hang on for dear life and trying to move forward, especially in a town when everybody hates your guts. Because get this, see, when Jude was an addict, he was involved in an accident that cost the life of the son of the police chief, who also happened to be the brother of the girl he was dating at the time. And seeing Jude and Sophie's relationship, how they tried to find their way back to each other, and how they stood firm against a town that only saw what Jude was, only saw Jude as an addict and did not expect him to be any better, was just it was so fucking good. Sophie Ames is amazing. I love that she dealt with the grief of losing her brother, but also being pissed because she loved Jude and he was not returning her emails when he was in prison. And also, nobody was actually going to give her any details as to exactly what happened when her brother died. I loved every single moment of that. Like, this book was filled with so much heart. I was crying. And then the suspense bit of what actually happened and Sophie digging to find out exactly what happened. When we got that reveal at the end, my heart shattered into tiny pieces. But this book built it right back up. I loved it. I loved seeing Jude. I loved seeing Sophie's relationship. I loved how they walked in and while they were integrated into the Shipleys family, because you know me, I love the Shipleys. I love the Shipleys. I love their town. I love their farm. It's just perfect. It was just an amazing second chance romance, second chance on life story about an addict and the love of his life, and how they came back together and how they made new memories, and also how they fought for their love, because fight they had to. I can't speak my love about this book enough. Definitely my favorite in the series so far. I think the True North series is still ongoing, because so far there are like 6 books, but I think it's still ongoing. But so far, Steadfast is definitely my favorite book in the series. But what came really close was Keepsake, which was the 3rd book in the series, and that is Zachariah's story. Oh God, Zachariah. Zachariah is the very definition of good, of sweet, of kind, of honest, of hardworking, of being fucking amazing and brilliant. Like, I loved him. I love that man. He deserved the whole world. He deserved the whole world. And seeing his relationship with Locke, because you see, Zachariah grew up in a polygamist cult, and when he was tossed out at 19, he legitimately hitchhiked his way from the cult all the way to Vermont to stay with another couple who had left the cult previously, and he worked with them before he was hired to work with the Shipleys on their farm. And he's made a home for himself, even though he consistently wants to be seen as being useful. And being in his head and seeing Zachariah's fears and seeing how he looks at this world, the world is just brighter and sweeter and so much more unique and perfect through his eyes. Like, I love this book. I love Zachariah. Is my heart feels that. I also loved Locke as being through hell. She was working with a non-governmental organization when she was kidnapped, held at gunpoint for days, and when she was released, she's still dealing with the PTSD, even though she's trying to pretend that she's all right, but she is not. And I love the fact that Keepsake was a book that talked about, you know, how it is that love is not enough to cure you of PTSD. Because see, Zachariah and Locke, like, they found love, they found each other, and seeing their relationship grow from friendship to attraction was just brilliant and beautiful and amazing. But at the same time, you also recognize the fact that, see, Zachariah wants to help Locke, he wants to be there for Locke, but that is hard, because once again, I repeat, love is not the cure or be all. And I loved how the story told that. I love how it was that Locke had to realize, and everybody around her to realize, that she needed help. And when she got help, slowly she got better. Like, the entire story, I loved seeing Zach's perspective. I also loved seeing Locke's healing take place on the page for us. Like, I loved every moment of this. I repeat, I love their relationship. I love being back with the Shipleys. I love seeing things through their perspective, and I love how it was that these two unlikely people, Locke, who is free and like likes to take risks and grew up like the only child of people in academia. She's wealthy, she's knowledgeable, she's also very open, very free, she's seen the world. And you have Zachariah, who spends all of practically most of his life in a polygamist cult, and is slowly trying to see the world and experience the world, and who is still trying to get his GED, and you know, and who wants to just be relevant and seen, and you know, who wants to work for this family that has accepted him and loved him. And I like seeing their relationship, seeing how they are complete opposites, but how well they work. It gave so much life and new meaning to the term opposites attract. And I loved reading this book. I loved Keepsake, loved it, gave it a 5 stars as well. It more than deserved it. It more than delivered. And after Keepsake, I read Bountiful. Now this book, I will admit, it was a 4-star read for me. Not quite a 5-star, like it was close, but Steadfast and Keepsake just had something extra. But Bountiful was also filled with so much heart, because in this we follow the story of Zara. Zara is the owner of the Goat, which is this bar over in town, but she's also Griff's ex-girlfriend. And you know, from the very first moment we see her, I wanted her to have a happy ending. I wanted her to have her own great big love, because like Griff has found happiness, and she and Audrey are now very, very close. In fact, so close that they are now business partners. Yes, like she becomes business partner with the woman that fell in love with the man that she'd loved for like forever. It was just so fucking cool. Now in Bittersweet, at the end of Bittersweet, we discover that Zara is pregnant, or rather was pregnant in Bittersweet. She had a baby daughter. Nobody knows exactly who the father is, and in Bountiful we meet the father for the very first time. Actually, we kind of get a glimpse of him at the end of Keepsake, but in Bountiful we meet him for the very first time. It's Dave. Dave is one of the hockey players for the Brooklyn Bruisers, which is a hockey team. Brooklyn Bruisers, this is apparently like an in-between story, because the Brooklyn Bruisers is another series by Sarina Bowen. That's yet another series I totally want to read, because now I have kind of caught an interest for hockey, which is funny because prior to reading all the books I read this month, which have been very hockey heavy, I've never had any interest in the sport. Like, I've never actually watched it. Now I'm looking for videos, watching hockey games, and it's just so interesting how books have the capacity to get you interested in something new. But anyway, like I was saying, Dave plays for the Brooklyn Bruisers. He came into town. He and Zara had a fling. He left. Unfortunately, neither of them knew that Zara was pregnant at the time, and when she discovered and tried to locate him, she couldn't find him. And he shows up in Vermont, in Bountiful, to relax with his team and also to reconnect with Zara. And that is when he's hit with the face that he is a father. He's a father to an adorable young little girl named Nicole, who is just perfection. Nicole is my favorite character from this entire book. I love her. That girl is precious. Like I said, Bountiful, I gave 4 stars. It's so warm, so sweet, so heartwarming. I love it. I loved seeing Zara as a mother. I loved seeing Dave slowly make his way into being a father, and I loved it when he got a realization. Nobody knows how to be a father or a mother off the bat. You learn by trial and error. I'm not going to lie, the old sudden child thing is not one of my favorite tropes in romance, but Sarina Bowen does do a fantastic job with Bountiful. I could definitely feel the fear, the agony that Dave had when he was first starting to get to know his daughter. Father and daughter developed their relationship, and it was lovely. I loved it. Like I said, the trope is not necessarily my favorite. The discovered, the unexpected baby trope is not necessarily my favorite, but Sarina Bowen did a very fantastic job, and I could legitimately see Zara and Dave falling in love and realizing that they would work better together. And I just love that book. I love that book. I loved seeing the defensiveness that was Zara's family coming into play, how her brothers were looking out for her, and I also loved the little glimpses we got of Dave's teammates. In fact, it has me eager to read the Brooklyn Bruisers series sometime soon. Speaking of Zara's brother, the next book in the series, Speakeasy, follows Zara's other brother Alec and May Shipley. Yes, May, that is Griffin's younger sister. That's Griffin from Bittersweet. So see, May is bi. We thank God finally there's a queer rep in this book. Although now that I've gotten it, I don't know if I really wanted it as much, because although I love May Shipley, there were some parts in the book that was just weird. It just seemed like some of this book was catering to the gaze, to the male gaze. Like every single time May was talking about her relationship with other queer women, it was like she was doing it to kind of fulfill some sort of fantasies for Alec, because he seems to have something for, it's been the stereotypical heterosexual male thing whereby he thinks that, you know, queer women exist for his own pleasure. And when he got to the part where she's talking about, you know, the way the things she's done in bed with like our partner, because the entire premise of this story was like May Shipley was dating someone, but then she walks into Alec's bar because she sees her girlfriend's car in the lot and she just wants to say hi. Only turns out that her girlfriend had gotten back together with her own ex, like that's her girlfriend's ex, and they were making out. May loses her shit. Alec is there to save the day. The two of them are friends. The two of them are both middle children who have known all their life what it means to be overlooked and to be thought of as not really having their shit together, not really being able to do things well. And then they find common ground as well in the fact that Alec is the life of the party. He lives his life loud and proud and just dives headfirst into whatever thing he likes, and that is something that May definitely needs in her life. And they balance each other out. They work well for each other. The relationship would have worked, except for the fact that, I repeat, there's this constant trend of Alec being interested. Like there's the whole voyeuristic thing of, oh, he watches female gay porn. He wants May to talk about all the things she's done in bed with her ex-girlfriends, that kind of thing. And even some of the fantasy when she's like, there's this period when she's lying to her family because she doesn't want to tell them that she's seen Alec quite yet. There's this whole thing when she basically gives him like, oh, pretends that he's her roommate, and he's just like, oh, kill me in on the fantasy. How do you hook up with your roommate? And it just seemed like it was just so annoying. It was all gazy, and it just rubbed me weird, and I felt off about the story. And not to mention the fact that there was this whole conversation about how May's ex didn't like her because she liked penetrative sex, and I was just like, in my mind I was just like, did Sarina Bowen talk to other queer women? Because queer women like different things, you know. Some of us like penetrative sex, some of us don't, you know. Some of us like, you know, fingers, some of us like scissoring, some of us like, you know, tongue action. Like there are different things that queer women like, you know, and not all queer women, not all lesbians hate penetrative sex. There's a whole different thing. I did appreciate the bit of biphobia she brought in, especially because yes, I have witnessed something like that has happened to me before, so I understand a bit of biphobia. But there were just, it was obvious that Sarina did not put in as much research into it, which just leads me, because I repeat, the male gazy thing of Alec, I'm just like, if it had been a queer woman that had written, like if she had this particular book with a queer woman, I'm certain that someone would have told her that no, please don't, it's just, please don't. But yeah. And even with the whole point of, okay, not all lesbians are butch, you know, I like, some lesbians are pillow princesses, some lesbians also, you know, like dresses. Like just how you express yourself with your fashion sense / taste does not determine exactly your sexuality or also what role you play in the bedroom. And like the fact I'm having this conversation, Speakeasy was just awkward for me, very awkward. Like I said, I enjoyed May and Alec's relationship, but there were so many things I had a problem with the entire book. I ended up giving it like a 2.5 stars. It was definitely my least favorite of the True Note books so far. Like it's so sad, because coming from the magnificent that is Bittersweet and Steadfast and Keepsake and Bountiful, and then we get to Speakeasy and all these things happening, and I'm just like, why do you have to make Alec be such a creep? Why do you have to make this relationship be this? Why don't, like, I was so looking forward when I heard we're getting May's story. One, I was initially hoping, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be like a female on female relationship. But when I was like, oh, she's getting together with Alec, I was even more excited about that, because, you know, there's that whole thing about the community where if you're bi and you're dating a man, there's the whole thing of everybody automatically assuming that you're straight. But if you're dating a woman, everybody automatically assuming that you're gay, that you're lesbian, rather than, you know, bisexual is a word. And I actually thought that, you know, Sarina was going to bring in these conversations. We didn't get that, and like, so many wasted opportunities that was spent on Alec making jokes about how he wants to see some female on female action. Like, we could have had it all. We really could have had it all. I'm so heartbroken about that. I did appreciate the alcoholism bit that was brought into the conversation, because May is a recovering alcoholic, and it's very interesting, you know, her being a recovering alcoholic, dating and falling in love with a man who runs a bar. You know, in fact, she's going to be living over a bar. Like, I really appreciated that. And I actually had no idea there were non-alcoholic beers until I read this book, and now I am actually pretty interested in checking them out and seeing if I actually would like them. I like my beer. I actually do like my stout. I'm a big stout fan. I'm a big lager fan. But yeah, I definitely would try, like, the way she wrote it, I would definitely try out some of the beers that you know, Alec was brewing. I will state though, I read this book via audio. Speaking of audio, someone mentioned something annoying about audio. Yes, I forgot to mention it in the chase. In the chase, someone mentioned about reading some fantasy book, and she was like, well, she didn't really read it because she read it on audio. She listened to it on audio, and I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? That is reading. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. That part pissed me the fuck up. But anyway, I listened to Speakeasy on audio, and I would state that the person that voiced Alec, I hated that guy's voice. I hated his cadence. I hated everything about that narration. Like, goddamn, I think I would have maybe I would have given this book a 3 stars if I had read it physically. But the audio book, I hated the person that voiced Alec's voice. Like, I hated the entire way he narrated that book. Like, a big no for me. After Speakeasy, I read the last book in the True North series, at least so far, that is out so far, and that is Fireworks. And in that, we follow Sky, that's Skylar's story, and Benito being Zara's twin brother. See, Benito and Sky were teenage friends who would have become lovers, because he loved her when he was 18 and she was 17, and she loved him back. But there were so many factors that came into play, and then they separated, or rather Sky left the trailer park where they were all living because she assumed a deep betrayal from Benito, which, let me get to that, because the betrayal part was so fucking stupid. Like, you would think that she would consider the person she's hearing these words from and take what he's saying with a grain of salt. But does she do that? No. But I understand that because she was a teenager. It happens as a teenager. But all I'm thinking is that it's been 10 years. Sky, are you trying to tell me that it never occurred to you to actually consider, until that exact moment when you're talking to Zara, it never occurred to you to consider the source of your information? Like, you're a fucking journalist. But anyway, it's been 10 years. Sky comes back to Vermont. Why? Because she kind of accidentally, she's a weather girl, and she accidentally draws a penis on camera. Yes, she's trying to trace along the weather, and she draws a penis, and her boss sends her on a holiday. She decides to come back to Vermont because her stepsister tells her to come, but her stepsister is on the run, it's not around. There's a drug deal gone wrong, and she actually refers her to talk to Benito, who is working with the state to catch drug dealers, and that is how they get the second chance at their romance. We do a lot of back and forth with regards to what happened 10 years ago and present day, and when it's all caught up, I'm sad. I'm like, oh my god, you poor kids. But I love the fact that they got a second chance. I love the fact that, you know, they were able to actually legitimately give themselves a chance. I did have a problem with the fact that their relationship started so fast. Like, Sky, when she was coming into Vermont, was all like, I hate Benito, and boom, in like 50 pages, she's forgotten all about the hatred, and she's all over Benito. And I'm like, wow, that was fast. That was very fast. And there were a lot of miscommunications. This book was just thriving on miscommunication, and I hate miscommunication as a device in books. Like, I really hate it. And this book was, from the beginning to practically the end of it, was just miscommunication galore. The reason why they separated as they were kids, miscommunication. There were some things that happened in present day as well, miscommunication, and it was just very annoying. But all in all, I actually did enjoy it. I love the fact that, you know, Zara got the chance to help mend the relationship between a twin brother and the girl he's loved since he was 18. I love the fact that eventually Sky does confront her demons, and she plays a vital, pivotal role in bringing about the downfall of the person that has basically haunted her for the last 10 years. The disgusting man that is her stepfather, which leads me to yet another conversation. The fact that Sarina Bowen once again uses this opportunity to talk about this, the amount of the prevalence of predators, the presence of predators within the police force, within a force that is meant to protect life. And yet, when you have someone in such a position of authority who abuses that authority and who preys on on little girls. Like, it was just, God, I had the shivers, but I was so thankful that, you know, Sky was able to fight back. And seeing her come around, seeing her come from that terrified 17-year-old girl to the kick-ass woman that she becomes at the end of this book made me so happy. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I gave it a 3 stars. I didn't love it, but it was definitely better for me than Speakeasy, but not as good as the other books in the True North series. I also blame it on the fact that we did not really get as much. Sure, we got a bit of, you know, the Shipleys family, but you know how much I love the Shipleys. I always want to see the Shipleys, and that's another reason why I love series like this that set about in a small town. Even if you don't get a full-on epilogue, I love the fact that you're able to see these other couples pop up in other books and see really them having their happily ever after through the eyes of the other characters, the new characters that we meet. So yeah, my only problem was the things I've already expressed, and the fact that I don't think people really groveled. Like, Sky deserved more groveling. She deserved more groveling from Zara. Like, I understood Zara's motives, but Zara did not apologize enough, and Sky was all like, you know, it's all forgiven. I'm like, no girl, it's not all forgiven. You deserve that apology. Take that apology. She didn't get enough groveling from Sky. She definitely didn't get enough groveling from her stepsister, who, by the way, I actually really liked. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like her from reviews. She seemed too flighty, but I actually did enjoy it. I love the levity she brought to the story. She was fun. So she didn't get enough groveling from her stepsister. She didn't get enough groveling from Zara. She didn't get enough groveling from Benito. Not from the perceived slight, but from stuff that happened like later on in the book. I think she should have, you know, like, she should have held out more. She should have been groveled to better. And our former boss, like, goodbye, good riddance. Guy was an asshole. I wish she had also, like, gotten more apologies from him as well. And then after that, I read so many books this month. Like, God, my throat is dry. Fuck. Okay. After that, I read the last 2 books I read in the month, and that is Him by Elle Kennedy and Sarina Bowen and Us. Now, god damn. Okay, let me start with Him. I know I was complaining. I'm like, oh my God, these two writers, their words are so straight and so white. And then they give us an romance, and I would not lie. A part of me was like, seriously, why don't we get an FF romance? I hope we do get one, a female on female romance sometime in the future, but we do get a male romance, and that is between Wes and Jamie. And God, these 2 boys are fucking brilliant. Like, I'm smiling like a goon because I enjoyed it so much. What is this story about? This is yet another second chance story. You see, Jamie and Wes have been best friends since they were kids. They attend this elite summer camp, hockey camp together, and they've been best friends since they were children. But then on the last day of camp, just before they enter uni, they engage in this bet, and because of the bet, Wes believes that he had taken advantage of his friend and so cuts off communications completely. Jamie does not know what happened, does not know what he did wrong. All he knows is that every time he tried reaching out to his friend just shunned him. And then we pick up the story now in present day. They are adults, they are in a final year in college, they're about to go play. Both of them are about to go play for different teams, but it's one of their final sets of their final games in college, and they are playing in the Frozen Four, which, if not, I'm so thankful because, you know, thanks to Elle Kennedy's off-campus series, I know how important the Frozen Four championship is. But they're about to play in the Frozen Four. Their teams, their schools are meant to meet, but things happen. Their schools really don't meet, but they have a chance to reconnect. Wes is able to apologize, even though Jamie still does not know the reason why. Because you see, the reason why Wes panics like that was because he's been in love with his best friend for like forever, and he feels like their last time together at camp, he took advantage of Jamie's friendship. And in order to further have that last summer with his friend, he goes to the camp again. Apparently, Jamie has been coaching in said camp in Lake Placid all these years, and Wes finally does join him, and in there he admits that okay, he's been in love with him, he's actually gay. They have this conversation. Jamie is all California laid back, cool about it. They rekindle their friendship. But what that also means is that emotions once again come to play, and then they have this epic romance on Lake Placid until circumstances happen. I'm not going to go into that much detail because I don't want to spoil this book, but it was so good. Seeing their friendship, seeing how real, how they balance each other out, how honest their relationship is, and then seeing them walk their way from friendship to being in a relationship to falling in love. Wes and Jamie were just amazing and cute and hot, so fucking hot. But also the hockey, I love I can't believe I'm such a big fan of this sport now, and like I blame it on, I kid you not, I blame it on Elle Kennedy, and I blame it on Sarina Bowen, because now I'm really invested in the sport. But like I was saying, it was just seeing them make their way into a relationship was just brilliant and magnificent, and they were perfect for each other. And I loved the ending. Like, it ended on this strong note, this happily ever after note, and I was so happy with it. I gave it 4 stars. I always love the book where people discover their sexuality a bit later in life, because 1, I relate so much with that based on my own journey as well, and 2, it's always so cool watching characters go back and be like, oh, so is this always been gay? Have I always been like this? Have I always been bi? Oh my god, that was so not straight. How the hell did I not know that? Or even, oh my god, apparently this is me now. Like, it was so cool. And watching Jamie go through that transformation, and watching Wes just slowly die and fall even more in love with his best friend every single day, just friends to lovers, epic shit. And then after the happily ever after, that was the ending of him. I was really totally and completely fine with that. And then we get Us, and with Us, we see the amount of work it takes that goes into a relationship, because you see, Wes is in Toronto and he's trying to make his rookie year amazing, and he's dating Jamie, and they're in love, and they're trying to keep things balanced. But having a relationship with a professional hockey player is hard. Having a relationship with a professional hockey player who has to go back semi go back into the closet, because, you know, he doesn't want to bring any sort of he doesn't want it to be that the focus during his rookie year would be on the fact that he's gay, rather than on the sport he loves so much, and he's playing, and he's really, really damn good at. And Jamie understands that, but eventually the toll it takes on their relationship. Now, I understand that this book is just a big giant mass of lack of communication, because a lot of the drama and a lot of the angst that was going on in this book would have been avoided if these two characters had talked to each other. But you understood because Jamie didn't want it to be like he didn't want to sound resentful. He didn't want to take away from the joy of what Wes was doing, and the same thing with Wes. And you just wanted them both to talk, but you understood why they were not talking, but you still wanted them to talk at the same time. And God, Blake, oh my god, Blake Riley is Wes's teammate who moves into the apartment into the apartment building, and he keeps just coming and showing up, and you understand, because he's just very annoying, but he's also a big goofball, and you can't really hate him, especially when things come to a head in the middle of the book, and he shows just how much of a team player and how much of a good friend he is, even though half of the time you really, really want to shake him. But yeah, I actually did enjoy Us. I also gave it a 4 stars. I think that a lot of the time when we're reading romance books, by the time you get to the end, the couple seem happy, but sometimes you just want those stories where you see the amount of work that the couple has to put in to stay in love. And God, the love between Jamie and Wes was just between Westme. Yeah, we thank Blake Riley for that, but the love between Westme was just goals. It was just heartwarming and just so beautiful, and I love those two boys. And I definitely want to see more of them. Thank God that there's the Wags. I would start reading that this month. But thank the universe that there's Wags, and I know that we're going to get more of them. Like, I can't wait for that. But yeah, so those were all the books I read in October. Like I said, it was 28 books, I think, almost 30. I read a lot of books. I'm very proud of myself, but whoa, that is a lot of books, and my throat is dry. I am so fucking tired, but so fucking happy. Let me know, how was October for you reading month wise? How was October for you mental health wise? Let me know. Drop down in the comments down below. What are some of your favorite books you read this month? You know, I'm always looking for more books to add to my TBR, because I love a big TBR. Having lots of books to read just makes me very happy. So yeah, let me know how your month went. Let me know if any of these books I talked about are your favorites or your least favorites. Tell me why not. Like, have a conversation with me. Drop it down in the comment down below. If you like this video, please do not forget to give it a big thumbs up. Check out my other videos. Subscribe if you want to. I make new videos every Sundays, Wednesdays and Fridays, and I'll see you soon. Until then, stay passionate, love books, love yourself. Bye.
My strange addiction, my doctors can't explain my symptoms.